Next month, my wife Emma and I will celebrate our wedding anniversary. In honor of the occasion, my spouse suggested that the whole family go for a week to a pleasant place with gentle sun and warm ocean. When we first met, we couldn't afford such entertainment. Living off stipends meant just coffee with cinnamon rolls and a bench in the park. But our relationship progressed quickly. Within a month or so, we realized we were made for each other. She even showed me her treasure VDJ, her diary. It was such a girly pink notebook with extremely important information. Her past boyfriends were vividly described there. It wasn't very pleasant to read about the compliments they gave her, how they hugged her. So, I only read the information that related to me. It was sweet. What pleased me the most was that among the 22-year-old girls list, there were only 2 positions before me. Now, I would give anything just to prevent more lines from being added to that disgusting book. After finishing our studies, we started living together, and soon we got married. Our little girl came when we were already over 30. During all this time, my wife changed jobs several times. None of the companies seemed to satisfy her. In the last company, my wife quickly settled in. The enterprise is large, with offices in almost every major city, and of course in the capital VDJ, the largest central office. Emma, as the department head, oversees 5 offices and regularly has to rush out of the house and travel halfway across the country on business. But it seems like my wife is immune to work problems. They can summon her even on holidays or vacations, and she always eagerly packs her bags and rushes to catch a flight. It's lucky that my mother-in-law is already retired and always agrees to look after Mary. Just as our daughter started going to daycare, my wife rushed off to work. It's understandable VDJ, the salary is very decent. Back then, I thought that money was the only factor that made my wife work responsibly and travel so much. But I couldn't even imagine what else motivated her, a very important option. When I heard the phone ring on Thursday evening, I wasn't surprised that my wife's boss had come up with a new business trip. No, I understand that without special need, no one would send a person to a regional office in the middle of nowhere. Without a hint of sadness in her voice, Emma announced that she had a flight at 6 in the morning. She wouldn't be back until Sunday. She quickly packed her bag and went to kiss Mary goodnight. It's very upsetting that they called her in on that day. We had planned to renovate the living room, and we were expecting workers for the weekend. And I had to move things myself, prepare snacks for the workers, and clean up after them. After work on Friday, I started working. My task was to move all the stuff from the cabinets and bedside tables to other rooms. If possible, also move small pieces of furniture. Take down the curtains. A crew is invited by 9 in the morning. I started with the simplest task and decided to clear all the shelves in the dresser. In the depths of one drawer, something pink and shiny caught my eye. I reached out and pulled out my wife's old diary. Oh, so many memories. I sat right down on the floor and decided to reminisce. Now, almost in my 40s, I was curious to dive back into the memories of youth and reread the words my beloved wife had once used to describe me. I flipped through the first 2 pages. I was no longer concerned about who came before me, especially since for the past practically 2 decades, she had been with me, not them. Well, that's what it seemed like to me at least. The 3rd page was dedicated to me. Warm sensations seemed to float inside me. Her looked at more tenderly than tender, gently stroked my back. Only a girl could write such things about a guy. Tears almost welled up in my eyes. I wanted to put the notebook aside, but the next page wasn't completely smooth. I turned it over and found a note on the back. It was like a bullet hitting my head but ripping out my heart. I threw that damn diary away and started pacing around the room. It felt like a bucket of mud had been poured over me. I was devastated when I found out Emma had a lover. Turns out, she had another man. It didn't even occur to me at first that the number could be slightly different. If you don't dwell on who exactly was making entries in the notebook, it was actually quite an engaging read. Hotel room numbers in one of the cities where their company's office was located. A toilet in the hotel restaurant. The locker room at the hotel pool. The end of the hallway in the hotel behind large flower vases in the middle of the night. Damn it, this woman was willing to do it anywhere. I could never even cuddle with her in the car on a deserted road. I always got the answer that there's home and there's a bed. And here, look at how things stand. Anger turned into despair, despair into a desire to shoot myself. Then a stupid hope emerged that it was all a dream and soon the alarm clock would ring. A few minutes later, I turned the page. I wanted to exhale after such a trial. But on the next page, a new message awaited me. A second name, a second city. Intimacy in the shower of a water park, on the main square of the city behind lilac bushes, in the toilets of cheap cafes. What is this? I wasn't ready for Emma to have someone. But two? I didn't want to believe that she had affairs with two men. And you know, I guessed it. It's not two. It's exactly 5. Like fingers on a hand. Like our daughter's age. Like their company's offices. They say emotional pain lasts only 12 minutes. No, it seems to me it lasts forever. You just adapt at some point and force yourself to think at least a little logically. Studying this disgusting document, I realized that she has a man in every little town. They're usually young guys barely over 20. Each of her business trips lasts 2 days, but she always stays one more. The goal is wild intimacy in unexpected places with those boys. What did I do to upset her? Didn't scold, didn't humiliate, always understood and supported. Our intimacy hasn't become less frequent than 5 or 10 years ago. I can clearly see that she enjoys herself with me. Over all this time, I would have been able to recognize simulation. Financially, we're fine. I contribute to the household no less than my wife does. I always take care of our daughter as much as she does. What haven't I given her that she seeks in others? I would agree to anything if she just said a word, but Emma never even hinted at anything like that. On Sunday evening, my wife walked into the renovated living room. Her diary lay in the middle of the room, and I was sitting in the armchair watching her closely. Clearly, there was no way for her to avoid this conversation. She sighed, sat down on the couch, and began to speak. It turns out she deliberately sought out young guys. They're all employees of her own company. She's the big city business lady for them, promising a place in the company's central office. With those boys, she tried to feel young, desired, carefree, hence the choice of places. Not suitable, to put it mildly, for a mature, experienced woman, wife, mother, department head. She said she loves me very much, but she's afraid that in another year or two, she'll turn into an old hag. And so it's like she's recharging herself with their youth, strength, and vitality. She just can't accept her age, afraid of becoming old and unattractive. I constantly assure her that she's very attractive, but everyone has their own demons in their heads. Now I would even feel disgusted to hug her. How can you act in a situation where you've been trampled on for years? And with 5 different partners? I decided that such behavior couldn't be tolerated. I wanted to teach her a lesson. I called her superiors and told them about her conduct and how she had been offering positions to young employees. Additionally, I filed for divorce, although I'm very sorry for our child, but I can't stay with such a person anymore. Rumors spread throughout the company. She was immediately fired, not given a second chance, and her young lovers became unnecessary. What will she do? I don't know, and I don't want to know.